Göbekli Tepe.
Göbekli Tepe.
Göbekli Tepe. Göbekli Tepe. Göbekli Tepe. We went to a place this weekend. It was the oldest temple on the planet, and nobody can say it.
Göbekli Tepe. Göbekli Tepe.
Göbekli Tepe.
Yes.
That's my best Italian.
We can say it.
They can say it.
You can't say it.
Göbekli Tepe.
Why does it sound like you have a southern accent?
Göbekli
Tepe.
Alright. Tell us more about it. Refresh my memory.
Yeah, okay, got it. I'm the only one who read the stuff in the museum. 12,000-year-old temple rewrote the whole, humanity history book. Essentially, they believed that organized religion did not exist at this time because they were all hunters and gatherers. And when they found this a handful of years ago, they did some carbon dating on it, and it turned out it was like 12,000 years old, 10,000 BC. So this is at the end of the Ice Age and at the beginning of the New Stone Age. And the place is, they believe it's a temple. They don't really know what they were worshiping, but it was at the top of this big hill, and Şanlıurfa, which is a very historic area in the Fertile Crescent near the border of Syria and Turkey, and in the middle of the Silk Road. So there's just history everywhere. But at this time, they were just supposed to be hunters and gatherers. People were, humans were. So they weren't really organized in civilizations and in communities yet. They were just in caves and things like that. But inside of the temple, there are these T-shaped pillars that weigh tons, that would have taken each about 50 men and a week's worth of time, and even in order to just bring from the quarry up to there. And there are dozens of these pillars. So the organization it would have taken ancient man to do this was something that we just didn't believe in the historical timeline of humans was really happening or possible. And the discovery of this, it's an active dig site where 10 to 30% is actually uncovered so far. There's something 4 circles that have been uncovered, and they believe there's 20. So, yeah, it was just like we said, the oldest temple in the world, 12,000 years old, and just such an important piece to how we understand ancient man and how we got to where we're at. Around there are ancient settlements too that are kind of in line with the timeline, but yeah, I mean everything from then on is essentially a part of that area. Even the town we went to in Şanlıurfa site, and all the fish from his legend when he was burned, and all these ancient things. It was really, really cool. But Göbekli Tepe was on the top of my list. It was the reason we went. It was the reason I talked these guys into going in the first place. What'd you guys think of it?
I thought it was pretty wild. Yeah, I didn't know what to expect, to be honest. I didn't do a whole lot of research. You were just like, yo, we want to go to Göbekli Tepe. I was like, all right, cool. And I went along for the ride.
You showed up and you're like, where are we?
Well, yeah.
Didn't even know what town we were in.
Yeah, didn't even know what town we were in. Didn't know what hotel we're staying at. But anyways, yeah, it was pretty cool. I've seen a couple really, really cool historic places in Turkey, outside of Istanbul. When I was here in December, I went to Mardin and saw a lot of really cool Roman era structures out there. So this kind of reminded me of that experience going to Mardin in a way, just seeing how much history and culture there is in such a culturally diverse country. It was a really cool experience for me.
They call Turkey the oldest museum in the world.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's their catchphrase.
They also say that all cats originate from Turkey.
Really? Yeah. That's kind of interesting.
I kind of believe that.
I believe that too.
Yeah. I mean, you point out an interesting fact that they said it was 7,000 years older than the pyramids.
Yeah.
Wow.
Up until now, the pyramids were, I think, the oldest thing I've seen with my eyes.
Well, the Nubian tombs, which were
4,000.
Yeah, and maybe 1,000 years older than the pyramids.
Either way, Egypt was the oldest thing I had really seen. This is like you said, 7,000 years before that. What? It was not 100 years before that.
That is further from when the pyramids were built than to us. Now to the pyramids.
Wow.
Yeah.
They were separated by more time. The pyramids were 3,000 years ago? When were they built?
Something like that.
Yeah, 2000 BC, I think, or something along those lines. So it's we'll call it 4,000 years old. They're 1,000 years more in separation from the pyramids than we are to the pyramids. That's a crazy amount of time.
Yeah.
That is it is really hard to comprehend. I found it really hard to comprehend the timeline in Morocco. Like being in the Medina and being around like a city that was in the year like 1000 built. Like that was wild. This is something else entirely. You can't even comprehend how people moved, thought. Like that timeline is really hard to imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah, like if you consider the average lifetime to be 100 years, which is like not even the case, right? That's pretty high.
78.
But just to make the math easier, right? That's like 1,200 generations, I think, right? 1,200 generations. Like I can't even comprehend how long ago that is.
Right.
That's wild.
Yeah, for me, Göbekli Tepe. I nailed it, I think. It was cool. The museum, I'm glad we went. I'm kind of with you. Not a museum guy. I appreciate it, but it's hard to stand and read, and it's hard for me to take myself back there. That's why I really like going to sites. So, like, going to the temples and being like, oh, shit. Seeing how actually old it, they were, like, holding it up with... They were holding the T-shaped structures up with, like, pieces of wood. Like, this is so old, it's gonna fucking fall down right now.
Yeah.
Just being able to just, like, consume myself in there, I find more valuable. The audio tour was cool. I like to listen to stuff.
Yeah.
But the museum was awesome to see those artifacts, but it's just hard for me to, like, transport myself back, especially for something that old, 12,000 years, when I'm, like, surrounded in, like, a fancy museum with a bunch of stuff I have to read. You know what I mean? It was just a different experience. I like an all-inclusive experience.
For sure.
It was cool, though.
One of the interesting facts I did learn from being at that site from that audio tour was that they backfilled that. They backfilled Göbekli Tepe is deliberately. Like, they cleaned it and then deliberately filled it up. So that's why it's so well preserved. They don't know why, but...
Yeah, and they said that they found a lot of strictly animal bones there, which made them believe, they don't know for sure, of course it's so long ago, there's no writings of it, but they assume that they were celebrating there. It's like they're having like a little bonfire and like worshiping something.
Tons of
it's
meat
like,
consumed is what they said.
So they didn't really seem to find like human remains,
Yeah.
so it wasn't like a grave site. So it's just like
no graves
seeing
have
the
been found.
history of how they're. It's almost just like process of elimination, just like detective work. I'm like, cool, this is what we found, this is what we do now. So this is probably what they did. Like it's all assumptions, but it's just kind of cool listening to how they got to that.
Or the image of the bird lifting the head being the first, proclamation essentially of a sky burial. I thought was really interesting.
Yeah, I mean, there was some stuff I was just like, that just looks like a circle to me, but okay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, how do you think that that's a human head? Like, a lot of it is, like, speculative, but that's just kind of the cool part of it, I guess is my point, is neat, but it's how misinformation gets spread, too. It's just like, that just looks like a pile of dirt that is, like, I don't know, who knows what that is?
Yeah, who knows? Maybe I can't read, like, hieroglyphics either, so I don't really know what the hell they're saying. But, I mean, there's definitely some interesting things even at the museum. The oldest human-sized statue on the planet.
That was cool.
That was really, really cool.
Yeah.
The writings that you found?
Yeah, the first, like, some of the first written text, because that was invented, written, like, language was invented in Turkey, like, in ancient Turkey. Super interesting. So they had a bunch of... You knew the style of writing. What was it called?
I did?
Cuneiform,
yeah.
That's like hieroglyphics.
So it was written in cuneiform, which was
drawings.
Very interesting to see. I don't know if I've ever seen those before, but just like ancient clay blocks that had text written in them, like Gilgamesh and like recipes and like things for ailments. Really fucking cool. The paintings and some of the stuff that they got from Göbekli Tepe in there was really cool. There was like what was it? A boar head that was painted. So they think the temple was probably painted, like paint from 12,000 years ago. I guess I thought it was pretty crazy seeing 4,500-year-old paint, let alone 12,000. Like 2/3 more. Like fuck out of here. That's crazy.
Yeah, I think it's just like cool to see. It's like I was also in that camp. Like when you think of the first of anything, a lot of people think of Egypt.
Yeah.
They think of like the Middle East, but they don't really think about Turkey.
No.
Right,
And so it was cool to be like, oh, shit. I mean, most of the people I tell, they're like, "Where's Turkey again?" Like,
Yeah.
what's Istanbul?
Yeah.
But just to know, like, yeah, we started here.
Yeah.
Was kind of wild to see. Just like, oh wow, like new appreciation of this place I'd never really thought to go as a vacation or as a travel experience. Is just kind of cool. Glad I'm here.
100%. Yeah, there's so many sites that we could still go to that I
Yeah.
think have so much historical significance. Like I said, the birthplace of written text, like that's wild. I would have never guessed that happened here.
Yeah.
I didn't really know. You hear the Silk Road, you don't know where the Silk Road's at. Like I couldn't picture it. Talk to you about the Fertile Crescent, couldn't picture where that was at.
Yeah, I
Like,
probably learned that in like 8th grade.
yeah,
Probably.
yeah. But that's all here, right? It's all here. Everything that happened from then on happened in this general area. I mean, not Istanbul area, but kind of, but mostly over that area. That outside of Africa is kind of one of the birthplaces of humanity, at least modern humanity.
Yeah. Well, now it makes sense why the marketing team of Turkey is like, yo, we need more people to know about us. New slogan, the world's largest museum.
Yeah.
Like, it totally makes sense now.
Yeah.
Somebody somewhere thought that was brilliant. Like,
Yeah.
we got to bring more people to Turkey.
Yeah, 100%. So they got the museum pass everywhere too.
100%. Yeah, that would have worked at that spot too.
Yeah, you know the museum pass you can buy here in Istanbul would have worked out there.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
What is like 130 euro or
160 euro. You go to
What's
all the
a
museums.
specific amount of days? Like you have to
Like 3
cram them
days.
all in.
Oh,
which,
wow.
like,
But you can go
yeah.
to everything in Istanbul, and you can go out there as well. Like
Wow.
any museum, it would have worked in Cappadocia.
yeah?
Super cool.
Wow.
Yeah. Here's the one thing I will say we kind of mentioned. It's just kind of maybe worth mentioning is like the vast, which I get it. You know, make your money, but the vast difference of like ticket prices specifically there, I thought was kind of like shocking.
Yeah.
Like, was 11? It was like 11 lira
No,
for citizens.
I think it was just under 100 or just over 100, which is like right now about $3. And for us to go in as foreigners, it was 21 euro.
Yeah, which totally makes sense. Make it a little bit more.
$3 versus 21 euro.
That's a big gap.
That's a big difference.
Okay, get your money.
We don't. There probably weren't any other like outside foreigners. I don't think we didn't see very many. Most people were speaking Turkish or
Yeah, I was in
Seemed like from the
Urfa.
area.
I felt like we were the only like Westerners out there.
yeah.
For sure.
Definitely
Maybe
wasn't
that's
the
why
case.
then.
Yeah, like it definitely wasn't actually the case. Like we met that one American woman at the airport, but definitely didn't hear a lot of English out there.
No way. Nah, that's fine with me. That's exactly how we wanted it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'd rather it that way.
Same.
Yeah, so, I mean, in conclusion, put Göbekli Tepe on your list if you can spell it.
And if you're Turkish, let us know who has the best pronunciation.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll
Göbekli Tepe.
we'll put it on the screen.
Say it one line. It's me.
It's me.
Göbekli. Everybody get your last one in. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, definitely add that to the list. I think it's underrated for sure. Pyramids, then Göbekli Tepe.
He keeps saying he's going for the
I
right.
feel like I keep getting worse. All right, see ya.
See ya.